back to the 2016 North America Spring Championships live from the Avalon in Hollywood. We are down to our final series of day 1 of 3 days, and it is the number 3 seed Hammers Kinetic against the number 6 seed Liberation X. Let's talk about Hammers Kinetic first. Their story. So this super team comes together. Gabe Bizzle leaves his longtime home with Gangstars, moves to jungle. T-Tigers comes over from Liberation X. They form this super team. A lot of people thought, myself included, that Hammers Kinetic, they might need all of spring season to really figure out what they have, figure out what's going to work, see what are going to be Gabe Bizzle's strongest heroes in a new position on jungle, but they surprised us all, came straight out of the gate, won the first qualifier outright, and really made a statement, and Gabe Bizzle certainly made a statement with his play.
Yeah, just looking back through the previous, this season, and trying to get some statistics, trying to research a little bit more on Gabe, he has played almost every single hero, and he's never played them twice, which makes it really hard to really predict coming to this match today what he's going to use as a comfort pick. Yeah,
and T-Tigers, of course, he is a farming machine, an incredible laner, and when you look at him with Gabe Bizzle, that is intense.
Yeah, I think he's Roam's favorite laner. Every time he comes on, you can just hear Roam going, yay, T-Tigers! T-Tigers, yeah, he's got so much potential, and he's got such a wide hero pool as well that's very difficult to take anything away from him. And he's also very versatile in the way he plays. And I think that is probably one of the most important things a really strong player can have.
Yeah, rounding out that team, Suijay, really the glue, calling shots, tremendous player in his own right. But I want to talk for a second about the second qualifier. So there, Hammers Kinetic, they did experiment a little bit more, to kind of seeing what heroes might work. And they lost earlier than I think they would have liked. Gabe Bizzle didn't seem very happy about that loss. But you told me it's the best thing that could have happened to them. Why?
Because the thing is, they're a freshly new form team. They came in, won the first qualifiers. They are standing on a pedestal. And the fact is, you have to knock them down to be able to make them realize their own faults, make them realize their weaknesses, because everybody has those weaknesses. And for them to, realize what they need to work on, it's way better for them moving forward.
Yeah, very, very important. Let's talk about Liberation X now. If you go all the way back to autumn, they were the champions, and they are a team that consistently plays well on the big stage, a little bit under the radar right now. But the big change here upon the original, unable to attend their starting laner. In comes Selena Gomez. The funny Twitter, that is not what we thought Selena Gomez would look like. But but what's very interesting here, I might be a little bit out on a limb, but I will say that I think Liberation X might be better off with Selena Gomez in the lineup than Pawn in the lineup. The reason why, Status Baked, already a very aggressive player, Pawn the original, much like Von C or I Love Joseph, an extremely aggressive, a fearless player. And what we saw in the qualifiers was a lot of times when Status Baked and E36 or Marteau were pulling out, Pawn the original, he went in, forcing the team to take fights they didn't want. It became a situation where Status Baked a lot of the time looked conflicted with shot calls that weren't coming out of the Roam position. Selena Gomez, if he can do no harm, if he can try to stay as close to even as possible in lane, there's a chance they can set up Status Baked to be the superstar that he is.
Yeah, that's totally true. I have played with Selena before. I do feel like he makes those very smart plays, making sure that he's not overextending, he's not over-pushing too much, but he does know when he has that advantage.
Now, this is a team that has a history of making lots of roster swaps in and out of matches, either for comps or for momentum. It looks like they're going E36 instead of Marteau, at least in Game 1. E36 has grown so much as a player, really over these seasons, but what difference does that make?
Well, they both cover a bunch of different heroes in that roaming, where I do feel like E36 has been playing a lot more with that Fortress, with that Catherine, and you give over to Marteau, who actually plays Arden really well.
All right, so, and of course, with Liberation X, they don't have T-Tigers anymore. They're playing against T-Tigers. A little bit of a grudge match there. Even though the organization itself has been very classy, we saw in the qualifiers they had a Smurf on their roster named T-Trash. Kind of a shot out to T-Tigers. I'm sure they would like to knock him down a peg here and get a win today. With that, let's meet these two teams.
I think the strength of our team is our resilience.
We're really good at early aggression, being able to dominate jungle, and then through jungle, dominate the rest of the game. We do have better synergy in my opinion.
I'm pretty confident going into this match. If we can get status on a jungle pick that counters theirs, I think we should have no problem just snowballing jungle and taking the game from there.
Tigers have given us a lot of information, their aggressive play style, who their playmakers are, how does E36 set up plays, and also status picked as well. Coming in with that knowledge and that wealth of experience that Tigers has with his former team is going to give us a leg up.
I don't think T-Tigers can use his current knowledge to their team's benefit. We've changed our play style a lot. We've become a lot more rotate-oriented. It's not completely jungle-focused. We're going to rotate up to lane, we're going to pressure him. Definitely not how we used to play when we played with him.
Let's hope that they don't know how he plays as much.
No offense to Gabe, I think he's a great player, but jungle is my territory.
The unknown is out there. They're not starting with their starting roster, which we're comfortable and we have draft strategies already for that. They're playing with Selena Gomez. He does have a specific hero pool, so the unknown there, it might throw us off a little bit.
Our biggest concern is the fact that we don't have our starting laner. So now that we don't have the Saw pick, we either ban the Saw and waste our ban, or we play against it, and it's going to be a bit tougher.
Originally we did have a draft plan for if Pawn was going to be here, but now it's a whole different draft strategy.
If we capitalize on our opponent's mistakes, especially in the early game, on some key rotations, some early fights, then we can pretty much snowball from there.
We're both fairly new teams. With our new roster, we haven't had too much time to practice. It's pretty close.
T-Tigers adds a lot of value to our team. He played a lot of his Vainglory career with Liberation.
I wouldn't say there's any fear. We know how he plays, but I also know how to shut him down. If we just prioritize ganking in lane, setting him far behind, then he won't be able to do much.
All right, great to meet those two teams. And if you were doing a double take there, yes, in fact, it is a family affair for Liberation X. E36 and Status Baked are cousins, a very, very tight-knit team that practices together and spends a lot of time together.
Yeah, they actually started playing the game together, both of them at the same time pretty much. And they excelled into the competitive scene, and they're doing very well over in Liberation.
One thing that was briefly mentioned in that video upon the original, someone who can play Saw extremely well kind of creates another wrinkle that people have to worry about. Yeah. That's off the board now. And with that, Rome, who would you say is your Hammers esports player to watch in this pivotal series?
I think this game is going to be very dependent on that jungle, and I do have to choose Gabe Vizzle. I feel like he has brought so much to the table in terms of knowing everything within that hero pool, everything he's able to pull off. And having all that experience as a roamer, he plays really smart. Every single move, every single call he makes is really effective.
All right, and on the Liberation X side, Xingyi, who's your eye on?
It's going to be the opposing jungler, Status Baked. And I think the reason for this is this update particularly is his time to shine. You know, it's got Glaive, it's got Sky. These are the hero he absolutely excels at, and I think he could, you know, potentially outplay Gabe Vizzle. This is going to be like the clash of like the giants here.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be an intense clash between these two teams. We're getting close to the draft for match 1 in this series. So we take a look there. You see T-Tigers in the front of the frame. Gabe Vizzle on the far side with Suijay in the middle. He'll be calling all the shots. Very, very important player for this Hammers Kinetic team. We're ready for the draft in this best of 3. It is match 1 of the 3rd seed, Hammers Kinetic, the 6th seed, Liberation X, and Adagio off the board immediately.
Yeah, we've been seeing Adagio ban off the board all day long today, and that just closes one of the optional strategies and comps that can come out of it.
All right, we're seeing this too, a Scarf prioritized ban, which opens up the Fortress.
So with this Fortress here, like, it does give Kinetic a little bit of an advantage, especially given that they like to finish their games very early. Their average throughout the entire second qualifier was just about 14 minutes per match.
Wow, all right, so we know how good Status Bake can be on this Black Feather. Selena can play it as well, and Status Bake, amazing Glaive, and we'll have to see what's happening there, what they plan to do to fill out that comp. But on the Hammers Kinetic side, how would you like to see them round out with this Fortress?
With this one is, you can throw anything that you want up in lane, but you need somebody that's able to sustain late game. So T-Tigers has to choose somebody. I feel like a Cruel would work out really well for them here. All
right, so we do see a developing storyline as it's Kestrels all day long. They must have been watching VIPL. We are playing on 117. Hammers Kinetic, how will they choose to round out their comps? Is T-Tigers just teasing us here, or might he try to take something away? It will be the Sky, Xingyi.
Yeah, so I think this is an interesting composition that Hammers Kinetic are going for right now. So Gabe Vizzle on that Kester, I'm not sure I'm entirely a big fan of that against that Glaive, because Sweet Generous can't really peel them away. It's going to be very difficult for him to keep keep Gabe safe.
2 saw fake outs and rounds out with a Finn. Seeing a lot of Finn today. Excited for this matchup. And with the call, it's Forecourt Jester and Tasty Bacon.
All right, thank you very much, Playoff Beard. Tasty Bacon alongside Forecourt Jester. And we are just about to get underway for our final matchup of the day.
Yes.
It is Hammers Kinetic taking on Liberation X. A little bit of animosity
Rivalry
between them with that T-Tiger situation. We'll see which one of them will get the upper hand here early on. So an interesting draft.
Yeah, it kind of went a little bit different than I expected. I saw the Black Feather, but well, at the same time, it's like Glaive. All right, so they're going to Glaive. Probably not going to Black Feather, or we're going to throw one of them on the Roam. And then, of course, they went into the Finn. So it's going to be the double weapon, very likely, from Liberation X. And remember, double weapon seems to work a heck of a lot more than double Crystal. Crystal, we just saw with TSM. It's pretty easily defeated just by picking up a little bit of armor.
Yeah, the other thing we'll have to keep an eye on is with the Kestrel being picked up here by Gabe Vizzle. Another pick that we're not terribly used to seeing from that particular individual. Right now, oh my goodness, look at how much damage.
All right.
Wow.
So we have a little bit
That was a little quick.
Little bit of a problem here in lane, because with no pawn the original here from Liberation X, they got Selena Gomez up in that lane. And these guys are saying, he's definitely not a pawn. Pawn is super aggressive, just like this from Status Baked.
Yeah, Status Baked going to be looking to get the kill into T-Tigers. He is going to do what he can with that forward barrage, but just not having enough. So at least they answer the kill now. Not going to be too much gained off of that first blood picked up by Kinetic.
See, the problem now, though, is that with Selena Gomez in lane, they don't really have, a good case to do super big aggression in lane, in jungle rotations, whatever. So Selena Gomez, one of his favorites is actually the Black Feather, because it's, the infinite escape, the survivability, the tank while still doing the damage. And if he's going to be dropping kills this early, this is not going to be, boding well for Liberation X.
Yeah, it may have just been a little bit of, just being too passive or, not really respecting the damage that was going to come out of T-Tigers. Right off the bat. I don't feel like that's going to be something we're not going to be seeing getting killed over and over and over again early on. But for now, it's 1-to-1 on those kills. We do see now Status Baked with this Glaive. This is another one where we talked about Cole the Meek being a phenomenal Glaive. Right. Status Baked is right up there with him for skills on that particular hero. So I'm really excited to see some more Glaive coming through. And yeah, like you said, against Gabe Vizzle's Kestrel here, Status Baked had some strong words to say, claiming that the jungle was his territory.
Now T-Tigers, he's going to actually go right through them all, looking for the kill on top of Selena Gomez, but the Status Baked was ready and waiting right there. And this is where T-Tigers needs to really kind of commit to a build. Picking up Weapon Blades early is fine. He picks up another, has that Scout Trap, curiously enough, but he's also now going into that Crystal Bit. So if I had to guess, it would have actually been, until I saw that Crystal Bit, the double weapon, because if you do want to look for those picks on Status Baked, for example, you need to not deal with the whole problem of forward barrage getting body blocked by the big and the slow E36 or Selena Gomez, who can just kind of keep blocking it out with his infinite escape. But now with that Crystal Bit, I'm a little more curious if T-Tigers will actually go into the Crystal.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to keep our eye on that over the next minute or two. Like when he does go down for another shop visit, that's going to be really telling as for what he wants to build. I'd be incredibly surprised if it ended up being an actual hybrid build. I don't think I've ever seen a hybrid build be terribly successful in a competitive match.
It's not out of the realm of possibility today, though.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but like I've yet to see it work in a competitive game of Vainglory. But right now, all 6 members are up here in the lane. Looks like they're trying to make something happen. So much damage being put down on to Selena Gomez right away, thanks to Glimmer Shots and Forward Barrage. And it looks like they may be looking for a fight on Kinetic, but they're doing a good job of keeping it passive, not going too aggressive, not diving underneath this turret for an early kill.
Here's the problem with early game triple melee comps. You have no poke.
Yep.
The only poke we got is on point, and even then, Selena Gomez could still actually lose it out there. Forward barrages, auto attacks, Gabe Vizzle, and that quiver and the Glimmer Shots. Like, there is so much possibility here just to keep Liberation X at bay, and this early on, there's not really any kind of keys to defeating that. They're just going to have to just take take their licks, and now that they've bought enough time, they need to kind of split up, and that's what Status Baked is doing. He's going off into the jungle. It doesn't look like there's actually any idea that he's doing this, because they're not racing. Hammer's Kinetic is not racing for the other side.
Yeah, and they're not really racing back either. They just kind of walked around.
Now I think they know.
They took their forward camps, and now, yeah, now they're going into their the backs of Liberation, and Gabe Vizzle's just going to take those away. Obviously, going to secure them very quickly thanks to those Glimmer shots. Meanwhile, back up in the lane, it looks like both the T-Tigers and Sui Generous are just going to be looking for a target. I think they're trying to find Status Baked in the jungle, and they are going to find them thanks to that scout trap, but now they're not going to have a position to chase him down. A great flare to check that brush before anyone goes walking headlong into it.
I think Liberation X is putting a little bit too much emphasis on that lane. Like right now, E36 is babysitting Selena Gomez. Gabe Vizzle has gone across the map. He picked up the backs, picked up the bigger guy, and now she also took that minion mine. What did Liberation X do all this time? They kind of clumped together in lane, and they didn't even get a push going.
Yeah, and now the timing of these rotations are really nice. You can see Gabe Vizzle going and clearing out his own backs right as they respawned from when Status Baked stole them away. And now they have pressure in the lane, but Kinetic is there to answer it. They have two members there to hold it off. Again, the lack of range makes it so they can't siege up this turret.
I love that positioning from Gabe Vizzle right there. It's like, if Status Baked is going to come through, this is the best spot I can see to get the jump on him. And, well, as you see, it's not going to be Bex. It's going to be Status Baked now having to go all the way trekking into his own. Now, at the same time, there is only one minion mine taken, and it was for Hammer's Kinetic. That will have to be dealt with here fairly soon. And T-Tigers, after he did do his own shopping, looks like he's going into that Broken Myth first. And this is something, again, that we saw a lot more in the qualifiers. It wasn't Frostburns from Skies. That was like the previous patch meta. This time, it's been all about up front, get that damage, get that pierce. Broken Myth at the 615 mark for T-Tigers.
Yeah, Broken Myth completed. Did sell off one of those weapon blades, so it is go looking for the crystal. That is Selena. Doesn't have the escape, but doesn't quite need it just yet. Able to dodge out a lot of that damage, but can't quite say the same for E36. Getting dropped to about half health off of those Glimmer shots.
I don't think they can fight. I'm really curious if this is going to go their way.
Yeah, again, the amount of harassment damage that Kinetic can put out in these situations, they're able to siege up this turret so well. There's so much damage going down. Selena's getting taken very low. One shot, one kill, not going to pick up a kill. Tried to predict the movement. Well, I mean, Von C, we saw him miss, what, like 5 or 6 in a row?
Yeah, but he started off strong.
Looking almost human.
He hit 6 in a row, then he missed 6 in a row.
Like I say, he looked almost human for a bit there on that Kestrel. But again, the range difference, and oh boy, that's not very good. The death from above is going to come out. Doesn't get a stun, but it does get that silence and slow onto Finn, and that will be a kill picked up by Hammer's Kinetic.
Selena Gomez does actually finally hit that level 6 mark, is actually doing the backs right now. So Status Baked is not going to be able to farm his jungle, has to just kind of take what he can in lane. At the same time, Kinetic, you know, if you get that kill, especially knowing exactly where Gabe is, at this point, there is absolutely no fear to take this immense gold payout. And 253 gold apiece is not so bad, putting them in the lead by about 200-300. It's still anybody's game, but it feels like Kinetic's rotations are just definitely a little bit better.
Not only the rotations, but their ability to pressure the side of Liberation has been really strong thus far. And Liberation, it feels like they're constantly stuck trying to defend underneath their turret. And again, this damage that comes out just while pushing them back to that turret, it makes it so Liberation can't look for that fight. The only way to fight when you are an all-melee team is to get in your opponent's face, but if you're at half health before you even try and get in their face, you're not going to win. You can see the harassment continuing to come.
And that harassment has actually now cost E36 his boots and his fountain. If there is to be a 3v3, not sitting at these health levels, will Liberation X even dent Hammer's Kinetic?
Yeah, Hammer's just going to continue to work on that turret. A Forced Accord pulls in one, and will it be enough? They do take down Sui Generous, turning this into a 2-on-3 in their favor. And just like that, Liberation turn it around and get an ace.
All right, never mind. I'm totally wrong on that one.
To be fair, I didn't think they would be able to get it either, but that Forced Accord pulling in just one.
Yeah,
allowing them to single out that target. They took out Sui Generous. The fountain wasn't available then, and a 3-on-2 situation, even if you're at half health, 3-on-2 is still in your favor.
Hammer's Kinetic getting just a little bit more, yeah, they underestimated it. I underestimated it, you underestimated it, although you won't admit it. And Hammer's Kinetic, they unfortunately paid that price. So 5-2 for Liberation X. This is actually now a big swing for them because they take the gold lead. They now have a few kills, saying, yeah, we can do this. And you said a little bit earlier, you know, they're always fighting under their turret. They're okay with that. Because again, like, this is not Pawn. This is not a comp that they've been working, you know, for months and months and months. They just don't have that star aggressive player. So passively, you know, defending out that lane while still not losing too much is totally fine with them. That's actually the game plan.
Yeah, Status Bake does still like to go aggressive, but when you pair it with more passive play, you can survive these onslaughts as Selena Gomez continuing to do so thanks to the Forced Accord, pulling Kestrel in and throwing that one-shot, one-kill off target.
Wow.
That was absolutely beautiful. And just like that, another kill picked up for Liberation X. They're looking so good right now in the early goings.
Yeah, no, I'm totally reversing my opinion here. Status Bake could be a little bit too aggressive.
Beautiful, not Forced Accord, that was
an
afterburn into the wall
yeah.
to get that stun and force Sweet Generous to have to back away from that fight, allowing Liberation to now go and try and take more jungle camps. But now Status Bake needs to be careful of going too aggressive.
He still has the cooldown. He's even if he has to do it over the wall, he's going to be totally fine. He's also, again, scouting. They know exactly where Hammer's Kinetic are. There's not going to be any surprises. Liberation X, I cannot imagine they're going to lose out this gold mine. Even if there's a one-shot, you just stand in front of it, you put Finn there, he's just going to tickle his backside in. Yeah, there it is, an immense gold payout. So 1-1 apiece. Liberation X, again, will hold on to their gold lead, but it's a very fragile one at this point. They might have 6 kills, but it's still anybody's game.
Yeah, the fact that Liberation's been able to play so defensively has actually really impressed me. A lot of times if you're getting pressured the way that they have been underneath the turret, it's very easy to just crumble and collapse underneath that pressure. But they have been able to stand strong, stay defensive, not give up the kills, and then just at the opportune moments, you know, it's been a couple of Forced Accords that have really turned these fights around. Some great play from E36 to be able to get this advantage that Liberation has right now.
I remember in qualifier number 1, I was with Shin Yi as she was joining me on the desk from Europe, and it's just like, you fin to win. Almost at one point in some of our weekends, if you fin, you win. That was it. Like, it was pretty much a static just weekend like that. Nice pickup from Status Bake. They were able to actually steal at that farm. So seeing it here again, it just brings back those memories, and E36 is really making it work for his team.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out, you may be wondering, oh, why didn't they just take that minion mine? They could have gotten it for free.
It's too much effort.
Don't want to. It's not that it's too much effort. It actually is a strategic decision because you want to deny your opponent as much gold as you can. You want to take away camps from their jungle, and if you capture your opponent's minion mine, it now becomes gold that they can pick up when they do, if they do get an opportunity to clear out their own jungle. So
that's totally what I meant by too much effort.
You actually you let your opponents hold on to their own minion mine until you really want your minions to be pushing into your opponent's base. Otherwise, you're just allowing them yeah, you're getting gold off of it, but if you're winning in gold, if you're able to steal away the objectives, and you're just letting your opponent have a way to get some gold back.
Well, Hammer's Kinetic, I was kind of curious. It was a 12-minute mark. I was looking at their gold. They didn't exactly have, you know, the mass of riches that you might expect at this point because they are getting a little bit starved out here. They have lost out farm. They're losing out in kills. They're definitely losing out in momentum right now. And they're about, you know, 2-ish thousand gold, 3-ish thousand gold behind. And I was kind of curious. They're all heading back. Are these going to be the infusions? Are we going to see a big fight? But they only actually just now completed a few of their items. So again, the state of this is now we're actually starting to finally pick up some of those infusions. It's actually, well, only the one for Gabe. He's going to, all right, he's just going to pop it here. This is where I would really expect to see us go for that fight. Sometime in the next 60 seconds, use the gold, go down to the shot, and then get an ambush going.
Yeah, it's a possibility that they could still look to do here within the next little bit of time. But yeah, a lot of scout traps being put down
7 scout
from
traps.
Liberation X. They have full vision of the center of the map. So even if Hammers were to try and make a move, Liberation would know exactly where they are the entire time.
Yeah, you can't surprise these guys right now. And with 60 seconds coming in, you got to get these infusions now. Got to get those items because this is the time to fight. This is the time to actually assert that dominance.
Yeah, Status Bake picking one up. Here comes the attack of the pack Really great job by Liberation to immediately back away, take care of those wolves, and then you can look for a re-engage if you want to. But Hammers, they recognized what was up as well. They know the strategy, and they immediately back off as soon as those wolves are down.
Fusion from Selena. We got one there on Status Baked as well. Now they're ready and amped and ready to go. But
there's an infusion
6-2.
on each carry from Kinetic as well. But
I feel like the window closed. Like they had the item shot positioning. Hammer's Kinetic was coming in and pretty hot at that point. We had enough gold, I think, actually to pick up a few, but they didn't.
They had the positioning, but you don't necessarily want to fight with that attack of the pack. Like as soon as it comes out, they would have been fighting with Fortress having that fortified health, the extra bleeding coming out from those wolves. The right decision was made, I think, by Liberation to actually back
only if
off
they can
of
get
that.
something done here.
Well, they can continue to starve out Kinetic.
Ooh,
so
that's not a good start.
they don't connect with the Forced Accord. They could still look for a fight, but it'd be very risky to go diving underneath that turret. Instead, they will just back away. I feel like they can stay here and continue to try and starve out the jungle, but you can see Kinetic trying to chase them out, trying to get as much damage as they can, but will Liberation will go for this fight. The Death from Above comes out, and it doesn't really do a whole lot of anything as Liberation just continues to back away. Kraken has spawned and is on the map, but I don't think either team is really in a position to even start that one.
We're trying to alleviate, we're trying to leverage the poke that we have here from Hammers Kinetic. You see how many forward barrages, how many shots from Gabe Vizzle has just been continuously pushing them back, and you know they just can't really fight at this point. Now we have more infusions. The 15-minute mark is coming fast, and that Kraken is the prize. Next team fight, whoever gets it has a very good shot of actually taking down that Kraken, and that vision has now all but just been, you know, run out. We've popped a lot of those scout traps in the middle. Liberation X no longer looks so, you know, comfy and cozy in that little nest of theirs.
Oh, well, maybe that's going to change that as Gabe Vizzle gets caught out on his own. A great play from Status Baked and Selena to secure that kill.
Really? Why? Okay, fine. 2v1. Good job.
Yeah, that's a surprisingly aggressive play from a very passive player, but I think it's mostly just to distract them from the fact that this Kraken is being started. It is only E36 working on it, so we'll see if Status Baked he's going to get here. He did use an Afterburn to escape, and yeah, they should actually be able to take this one. I don't think Kinetic really realizes that this is going on right now. They should at this point, but because Selena was up in the lane and they saw Status in their jungle, I think they didn't quite realize that E36 was already working on that objective. So Kraken unleashed here by Liberation, and big infusions coming out. A lot of weapon infusions just picked up. Double infusion for Selena Gomez, and a double infusions for I just completely drew a blank on his name, even though it's right in front of me for T-Tigers.
Oh, I feel you, sir.
This is...
All right, so Kraken's coming down.
I was distracted by the Kraken and the infusions.
I know, she's so pretty. 7 kills to 2, though. 30,000 gold, still holding that gold lead. Liberation X, I think that they're actually in a bit of a stronger position here. Look at how little armor we have from Kinetic.
And you can see a lot of damage actually being put down onto Status Big, distracting them from the Kraken a little bit, but now Kraken is getting worked on. A beautiful death from above just to delay the side from Liberation going for a fight, but a 3-man Forced Accord, and the fight is on. Status Big trying to do what he can to T-Tigers, and they get that kill very quickly. Meanwhile, Gabe Vizzle stayed on the backside this entire time to work on Kraken. Swedegenair is just going to try and stall out the members of Liberation X for a moment longer. Gabe Vizzle doing what he can to work on this Kraken. It is pretty low, so they shouldn't be able to finish this game. He actually may be able to.
I'm trying to decide.
Only one member left. It depends entirely
There's a good shot
if
here.
Gabe Vizzle can do this damage. Kraken is now going to go down. The last turret is down. Gabe Vizzle doing what he can. Some big AoE. Here comes T-Tigers, but do they have enough? I don't think so. This is going to be the Crystal getting destroyed, and Liberation X taking game number 1 against Hammers Kinetic.
They said it. They said Status Baked. They said, this is my jungle. This is my territory. And they said, you know, T-Tigers, yeah, we know how he works. Perhaps he doesn't know how we do it. You know, we've actually now changed up our fighting style, and that is just not going to be an advantage you can take home. And I got to say, early on, it looked really good for Kinetic, but as soon as it was like almost as soon as we hit level 6, Finn hit a switch, threw out an anchor, and just started winning the game.
Yeah,
just right then and there.
You know, like as you mentioned, how maybe T-Tigers, his information wasn't helpful enough to Kinetic because of the fact that Liberation, they definitely looked like a different team than what we've seen previously.
Yeah.
You know, they were a team that has been super aggressive. Status Baked has always been a really aggressive player. Even with T-Tigers, they were fairly aggressive, especially upon the original. They were hyper aggressive.
Yeah, that's where they came known
They
for.
played so passively for the first 10 minutes of this game. I just feel like Kinetic maybe weren't ready for it.
Well, Kinetic, as I said, I felt like they were definitely slipping. As soon as they lost out in terms of some of those kills, yeah, the kills were fine, but still 3,000 gold. We've seen comebacks, but again, very little armor on this team. It's a double weapon comp. What did we just see from TSM? Double crystal, they just armored up. All we have here is from T-Tigers picking up some of that armor. We got some health from Sweet Generous. Cape Vizzle has that reflex, fine, but you're not really addressing the core issues. So Status Bake 702 goes immortal, gets an award from me, and I think that Rome might actually have a few more things to say as well.
Yeah, it definitely could.
All right.
It's going to be a weird situation.
It is, yeah.
Going forward, but like you said, for Rome, I want to hear what they have to say because Kinetic was definitely the favorite coming into this. So hopefully Rome will have some more words for us.
All right, fine. They only want to talk to Rome. But Rome, what I want to talk about here is we said don't sleep on Liberation X. Every time we have a major tournament, they show up and overperform, if not win the whole thing. Talk to me about how this one went down.
Well, it started out with like the drafting and the way that Liberation X was going second, so they got that last pick, which countered the entire composition coming out of Kinetic. You have Kestrel, and so much poke damage, especially coming out of Kestrel herself, that there was nothing that they can do about it. They weren't poking out in that early game. Sky wasn't having that pressure on them. And when it came down to it, Status Bake made all the right rotations in that early game where they had that lead, and they built up a lot of defense. They were able to sustain themselves so long that they could jump into any team fight and walk out with the win.
And this is exactly what we talked about. Selena Gomez 1-1-7, but Status Baked 7-0-2. Selena Gomez did no harm to this team, and then Status Baked was able to carry very impressive performance in Xingyi as we segue into the draft for match 2. Gabe Bizzle on a Kestrel, not a hero that translates from Rome the way that, say, a Glaive does. Had a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I also think in the last game, I think what we really needed Sweet Generous was to have the pauldrons to slow down the attack speed. And I think the itemization was a little bit wrong that time. So I think he is more comfortable in those heroes that he can play as a support.
All right, so Hammer's Kinetic, they know what they're in store for now. Liberation X, they take away the scarf.
Yeah, something to look at about Kinetic is that last game, Kinetic was playing a lot like how they did throughout the second qualifier, where they got knocked out fairly early. There wasn't enough coordination within the team. You saw Gabe Bizzle always being in that back end, always playing a little bit safe, whereas Sui and T-Tigers was diving in head on.
All right, Fortress comes off the board. Liberation X, they prioritize in Adagio.
Yeah, so Adagio's really strong, and the problem with having him as a first pick is that he can be played in any role, and you can't predict how the draft is going to be going, so it's very easy to counter and adjust your draft.
And for anyone who might be joining us midway through, this is on update 117, so keep that in mind, and it's a Finn.
Well, with this Finn pick coming out, I do hope that Kinetic is able to find a more balanced composition, where if they put T-Tigers on a hyper carry and Gabe Bizzle on a melee bruiser, it would work out for them so much better.
All right, Black Feather on Gabe Bizzle, that's going to work.
Well, this Black Feather, it might go up into that lane, just due to the fact that they will sync up with the Finn later on, but with that early game, T-Tigers is one of those performers that does exceptionally well when he does get that farm.
All right, we'll have to see who Gabe Bizzle ultimately ends up on. Liberation X, they are very happy to get this buff comp. You go back to when they won the championship in autumn, it was all Adagios and Glaives together. That's Status Bake's favorite.
Well, especially seeing Status Bake on that Glaive is actually a very terrifying concept. We saw how much he did without the Adagio, and if you might just imagine a buffed Glaive, I think this is going to be a very difficult game for Hammer Kinetic now.
All right, Hammer's Kinetic, seeing what's on the board, Rome, how do they finish this? Oh, it's a pedal! Wait, real quick on the pedal.
Well, with the pedal pick, they do have an opportunity to really kite back and make sure that they stay away from that Glaive, who is going to get buffed up by Adagio.
All right, this is how we used to see countering the early game aggression with the pedal and off-meta pick. We'll have to see how it works out with our cast. It is Forkroyd Jester and Tasty Bacon.
Thank you very much, Playoff Beard. A pedal pick for Gabe Bizzle. I am so excited to see this one. It's something that they said they may be pulling out for us, and we've seen it have success in the VIPL.
You
may
them.
be able to hear the crowd. They love the pedal pick just as much as I do. I am so happy for this one. And let's see, hopefully for Hammers Kinetic, it will be able to pull them out of victory.
So it's not just going to be a pedal in VIPL this week. It is totally going to be a pedal here for Hammers Kinetic. So Gabe Vizzle, what you're going to be looking for here for pedal is, what he told us is it's going to be an alternating current into even like a Shiver Steel a little bit later on. A Broken Myth and then a Shiver Steel.
Yeah, and it's really, really powerful. I'm a big fan of playing pedal in when I'm playing the game myself. And the damage just catches people off guard, because when you think pedal, she's been rather weak and out of the meta for so long that you just don't expect the insane amount of damage that she can do coming out. You can see 2 crystal bits picked up there by Gabe Vizzle. Going to be very similar to a Sky build early on, just trying to get as much damage as you possibly can in the early game.
Yeah, you're going to need it, especially with those little minions trying to tank out for you. Try to get as best of a value that you can. But so the big thing here for Hammers Kinetic, at least how I see the team fights going, is that Gabe Vizzle himself is going to be a threat. But he also brings a heal to the table on top of the fortified health from Sweet Generous. And on top of that, T-Tigers on the Black Feather, you know, is really well known as a survivable kind of guy, right? So not only do you have the survivability of a Black Feather plus the fortified health, but now plus a heal, and at the whole time you got to try to dodge Gabe Vizzle and his exploding minions. It's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, the one good thing for Liberation with regards to the pedal is that Adagio, though. Adagio is very strong against pedal. A single Verse of Judgment will kill all of her minions in one go. The Gift of Fire can affect the minions as well.
Burn them
so
down.
Adagio does do rather well against the pedal, and Glaive, you know, a little bit as well with those, and the AoE cleaves come out with those crits. But we've seen Gabe Vizzle play heroes where he just kind of has to play safe and just stay on the back lines before, and he does rather well with them. But that's a lot of damage going down now. Oh my goodness, what a big Gwibble. And this is going to be the first kill getting picked up. It does go over to Sweet Generous on that Finn. But that was a very emphatic start.
So the first thing I'm questioning is Liberation X is actually being the aggressor. Selena Gomez comes down, they rotate, they're like, all right, he's big and slow, we can get him. And then they'll just funnel into it, and it's right back on top of them. Suijay is just doing fantastic, able to pick up that first blood there for, well, himself actually. It didn't go over to the gate as it might have. But you also saw the damage situation right there. We have so much control and health and survivability, I think, from Hammers Kinetic that you can't do that again, Liberation X.
Yeah, you can't. You have to be really careful about going into choke points against a Finn. Even a Black Feather, you know, using that on point can get it onto multiple members. I mean, pedal is still okay in open areas too, so it's not quite as important as, you know, a Finn who's going to be able to say, oh, all 3 of you are in one line. This is just an easy quibble that's going to do a huge chunk of all of your health. So we'll have to see if Liberation, I assume they're going to learn from that mistake very quickly.
Yeah.
That is a mistake that you really just don't make multiple times. No. That's going to be an afterburn. It doesn't quite connect the way that Status wanted onto T-Tigers, just pushing him back into that turret. Meanwhile, Gabe Vizzle just roaming around the jungle looking for anything that he can start attacking.
Yeah, he's got that attack speed there built up. So him and Selena Gomez are very likely to be going into the same path, looking for that alternating current first on either side. And Selena Gomez, amongst his favorite too, Black Feather, which we saw last game, and now this time gets that Adagio because it was a Fortress ban, not an Adagio ban from Hammers Kinetic. So he's actually very comfortable with this kind of setup. And the whole buff status baked couldn't actually be, I don't think you can get a better situation for his kind of fighting style. If he wants to go in, he has an Arden to follow him up, and he has a buff from Selena Gomez, plus that verse, plus all the AoE you talked about. So their strategy here as well, when executed, jumping on top of, I don't know, Petal, I guess. Petal or T-Tigers is not really a good target, but I think they could actually pull it off.
I think Petal's going to be your best target initially, because you can see right there the insane amount of damage that comes out of a Petal. That's just 2 crystal bits and some attack speed just destroyed the roamer, the tanky one in the Arden.
Yeah, no, that is his name. So Arden out for the count. 0 and 2. Hammers Kinetic looking, you know, pretty good here in this early game. About 1,000 gold up, and Gabe Vizzle, that attack speed, the crystal, it's working out. Just imagine when he gets that alternating current. But even better, like the third item, the Shiver Steel. Now you can't run away from him.
Yeah, a lot of people like to look at the Frostburn for a pedal, but the Shiver Steel is actually more effective because it's a longer slow, which allows your minions to continuously catch up to your opponent.
He got his boots.
As you can see, the amount of damage, again, that pedal is doing, forcing people out of the jungle virtually by herself.
Has that level 6 on top of it as well. Hits the 6 about the same time their Status Baked. They're just not going to get T-Tigers, not this round. So, 0-2, as I said, as we keep going back and forth, the big eyes are going to be on this pedal because all of a sudden, 118, remember, this is 117, guys, don't try this at home. 118 is a very different beast.
Yeah, Gabe Fizzle going to be getting himself out alive using that trampoline, but now here comes Sweet Generous, pulling everyone back in. Status Baked is the target. Those Munions just doing work, it will be actually the kill being picked up by Black Feather instead. Gabe Fizzle jumping over the wall, wanting to continue chasing this, but the movement speed is enough for E36 and Selena Gomez to get out. Gabe Fizzle says, okay, not going to get the kills. I'll go ahead and just take your jungle.
So, well, if you can get the kills and the farm, of course, obviously that's going to be picture perfect. And E36 is just not going to be in position really for this. The other thing is he doesn't have the levels. Like, that's a level 7 Gabe. That's a level 4 Arden. And Status Baked, sure, the Blood Song, he used it. It's already back up, but I'm just not entirely too sure they're going to be able to bring down Gabe.
Yeah, Sweet Generous is going to be in some trouble. Actually, a great job there by the rotating around, but it's still not quite enough. They do get 2 kills out of it. Maybe they can get the ace, as that is going to be T-Tigers trying to get out of harm's way with that Rose offensive. So a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Liberation X. A beautiful job by Selena Gomez actually rotating around to collapse and sandwich in Gabe and Sweet Generous there.
I'm going to play a new game where I call everything wrong. So far, I'm winning. So far, I'm winning.
I don't know, from experience, it's not a very new game.
Well, I know. I'll go talk to Rome about some of the tips and tricks. But 4-2 for Hammers Kinetic. Gabe definitely did not expect that, but you're right. The sandwich actually worked out well again. And once more, just underestimate Liberation X at your own peril. This is twice now in 2 games that they've done this. Could that have been the turning point? That I'm not entirely too sure about, but this is a team capable of making those plays.
Yeah, I mean, Liberation X is a team that every single championship they come in with almost no expectations. You don't really expect them to do amazing things. And, in autumn, they ended up as the North American champions. In winter, they were top 4. Like, they're a team that always shows up for the live events, regardless of, what the current momentum has been leading up to the championships. They always show up on the stage. And they're giving Hammers Kinetic a run for the money, but E36, that was definitely a big mistake there. He does go down. The damage is now coming out from those Munions as they take a long trip around that wall. A lot of them are going to disappear thanks to the turret, but another kill picked up by Kinetic. Let's see if they can get any solid pressure on this lane off of that.
Sweet J here does not have level 6, so Selena Gomez is going to be able to rest somewhat easy in terms of knowing that there's no hook coming for his face. Doesn't have the reflex block anyways, so definitely a little bit more better for him. So Status Baked level 9 though. He's just kind of tearing up that jungle, even taking over Gabe Fizzle in this race, but he will take that farm. Gabe Fizzle, however, I was kind of curious if there's going to be another sandwich here, but Selena Gomez is the one to come down, so he has a clear escape path. When it comes to the money, Hammers Kinetic is still actually winning this one. So a little bit of a resurgence from Libex, still needs a long way to go here.
Yeah, they definitely are still behind the 8 ball, and this pedal is only going to get stronger and stronger. Black Feather is only going to get stronger and stronger and more difficult to kill. With that Fountain of Renewal and the Spontaneous Combustion, there is so much damage you have to do to the Kinetic side to secure yourself a kill. A beautiful force to cord pulls in just the Selena Gomez getting caught on that. And now Status Baked looking to go aggressive through the gauntlet, but not going to be anywhere near enough. Another kill picked up, this one going over to Gabe on that pedal, and this turret is going to fall.
Status still has that afterburn, but he's not going to be able to save turret, or will he? Gets one. He's now going for Gabe. Somebody's taking this out. Afterburn will kick him away, but do we have the range? Do we have the range? They hit the slow!
Oh, the slow from the Quibble is enough to prevent the kill onto Gabe Fizzle, but it will end up taking down Sweet Generous, and you are getting really good at this game of yours.
I need to wipe my own slate here and just say Liberation X can make this happen and just call that, because that's apparently what they're just doing now. Status Baked is once again just doing a phenomenal job. 4-1-0, has had that Sword Blade for a while, and now on top of this, from kills, from a little bit of a revenge, and now into the back, he's getting that farm. He might be able to just kind of surpass Gabe Bizzle in this battle.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what he said he was going to do before the event even started. This is, Status Big was saying, this is his jungle. The jungle is where it's his territory. He challenges really anyone to compete against him. And right now, he is just showing up so incredibly well. A lot of vision once again in the middle of the map. As one of those scout traps does get found. Looks like Kinetic, they want to fight. A beautiful force cord pulls in all three, and the fight is underway. It looks like it's going to be the first kill picked up by T-Tigers on this Black Feather, and Gabe Bizzle is doing such a good job of keeping himself safe. A great on point from over the wall to get the slow on the Status Big, and now Swede is going to hit that slow from the Quibble.
They're going to let him?
They're going to get that afterburn over the wall. Status Big able to survive, but a beautiful initiation thanks to that forced accord.
That's at least the second double man or triple man hook that we've seen. And once more, you fin to win, right? That's what I was saying. Back in the qualifier, you fin to win. They get a turret on top of that. The kills, the map positioning, and pressure. Status Big, just go home, man. Gabe Bizzle is saying no dice. And look at the damage. Again, like, you just, that alternating current, deceptive.
Yeah, very deceptive. Along with those Munions, they do collect the immense gold payout in favor of Kinetic. And, Finn to win, everyone is banning Fortress. There's so much focus on Fortress and Adagio. I feel like Finn may have to start being considered by these teams because Finn has just been so dominant in every game that he's been in.
Well, again, like, beginning of the qualifiers, that's kind of what happened, and then Fortress took over. Remember, Fortress was the ban here. We had a Finn ban in our last set of games of 3, but this round, Hammers Connect saying no Fortress. Okay, so fine, we just take the Finn, or well, you should have, but the Adagio was just too juicy to give up, right? So the Adagio, not very effective when he gets hooked into the line. He does have that reflex, uses it there.
Yeah, that is going to be a stun on the E36. Not quite enough damage. Status Big, though, is in the middle of the team. He's looking for Gabe, but Gabe is going to just get out of that gauntlet. And now he's on the back lines doing so much to Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez is going to go down. Gabe Bizzle gets one. He's looking for the second one. Status Big is going to fall, and Gabe Bizzle is still alive. That will be the third kill picked up by Hammers Kinetic. The ace buff getting that regeneration to make sure those minions don't get the kill. And just like that, Hammers Kinetic are in control.
Liberation X split so hard right there. You saw how focused we were with Status Big as he just kept going on and on up against that Black Feather. But still, I mean, right here, look at him. Status Big, Gabe Bizzle. Gabe Bizzle gets away, that's fine. But now we're going to try to peel. And Status Big and E36, they're on one side. Gabe Bizzle's on the other. Selena Gomez is just stuck in the middle, doesn't know where to go, gets hit by all sides. And Status Big, with that last Rose offensive, is denied the kill on T-Tigers. And that leaves E36 in the middle, who again, they were just not focused. If all three of them are hitting the same target, might have been a different story. But living on the curtails of your health bar, Hammers Kinetic gets a 3-0.
Yeah, and another thing that was very difficult to see in that fight, Gabe Bizzle actually reflex blocked the afterburn and then jumped with that trampoline.
Oh, so it wasn't even punching.
I feel like that may have actually been
the difference
for Status Big, thinking that the afterburn had connected.
Yeah.
And that's why he ignored the pedal, because he figured it was going to be the stun with the gauntlet wall there too. But Gabe Bizzle was just able to avoid it thanks to that reflex block. And I feel like that was actually a very key turning point in that fight.
Well, T-Tigers lived through it. Gabe Bizzle definitely living through it there as well. Now, a little bit of a vision game here. We are past the magic 12-minute mark, and 14 in means that we're within seconds now of that Kraken. And what kind of gold situation do we have? Okay, we're going to take the gold mine, but I mean, we might see Gabe Bizzle and T-Tigers looking for some of our infusions at the same time. Yes. Status Big can definitely do it. He already has one in on him, and he has about 1,000 gold on top of that. Selena Gomez, though, with that alternating current and 0-4, okay, yeah, he's just going to pick that up. He also now has that broken myth. But despite looking so immense on this Adagio, he's 0-4 and just does not seem to be hitting the mark in these team fights.
Yeah, and a lot of that is the fact that there's so much dive potential from the side of Hammers Kinetic. Black Feather can get onto the Adagio in the back. We just saw in that last fight, once Gabe Bizzle got out of the initial skirmish, he was able to just come in and just melted Selena Gomez. So infusions are up. Kraken is about to spawn. This is the important part of the game. This is where we get to that point where one fight could potentially give us a winner.
I like the weapon infusion on Gabe. I I mean, alternating current. Most of his damage is coming from those auto attacks.
He does have a crystal infusion in the
you're right,
inventory,
but I just like the fact that he has a weapon on top of it.
Well, I mean, double infusion.
Yep.
It's
You got
very
the money,
powerful.
dude.
And Petal does do a lot of again
I'd say
deceptive
all.
basic
I'd say
attack
like
damage.
90%. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is
they're looking.
that's going to be very aggressive coming out of T Tigers, going onto Selena Gomez. A lot of damage. The Burst of Judgment comes out. It doesn't do enough at all, though, as it gets blocked. The Gauntlet should be able to keep at least one member alive. Status Bake will knock Gabe Vizzle back with that Afterburn. The Force Accord is down, but that is a very quick kill picked up by Hammer's Kinetic. Really aggressive play from T Tigers that we weren't really expecting. And now with this turret going down, there's going to be Gabe Vizzle jumping forward, just getting one attack, though. It looks like the call is to back off. Status Bake needs to be careful here.
Wait up, guys.
He is lumbering after them, and that's going to be immediately Hammers turning around onto Status Bake. Definitely a bit questionable.
This was the no glaive club, and they had to enforce the ruling there. So 14 kills in 4. Really no words for that one. But 20 seconds down, Status Bake. There goes all the jungle. There goes the minion mine on top of it. Kraken is sitting there all pretty and waiting for someone to tango with. And I'm pretty sure Hammer Kinetic can just take it at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Without glaive being there, they definitely have the option. Adagio and Arden, they can steal it, but Adagio's not really the best at it and can just be easily turned on. If they go for that steal and aren't successful, it's game over, hands down. So they are just going to back off. Looks like maybe they actually, they're starting to come forward. They might look to try and stop this, but it's nowhere near fast enough, as that is the Kraken being unleashed by Hammer's Kinetic. They aren't even able to take that minion mine, which they're looking for, but Status Baked is down there.
Got a gauntlet.
And that's going to be a lot of damage onto E36. Meanwhile, there is a fight going down by those minions, and it is going to be T Tigers getting the solo kill onto Status Bake down by the minion miner. We didn't get to see that one because there was 2 fights going on at the same time, but the Kraken is still making her way into the base, and Hammers are in prime position with that kill onto Glaive.
With T Tigers, tanking up, getting that Bonesaw on top of everything as well. I just don't think there's a comparison right now for Status Bake. So he's gonna have to eat crow on this one. The jungle definitely did not belong to Status this round. He did a phenomenal showing at 4-1, but now he's sitting at 4-4 and hasn't really been part of
this is the last ditch effort defense. Oh my goodness, the gauntlet got canceled in midair, and now the Kraken is still way too healthy. The crystal is going to go down, and this will be game 3 between Hammer's Kinetic and Liberation X.
I have no idea what to, I was really going to say Petal could actually be the blind pick game 3, but they bring it out so early. Could they go for it 2 in a row for Hammer's Kinetic?
They definitely could. I mean, it's a pick that you can really pull out almost anywhere. I don't know if you should do it in a blind pick, because there are so many things that can counter it really well.
Well, all right, so game 3, our second set of blind picks going to be coming your way, and to cover it all, guys, it's going to be Rome, Jin Yi, and PlayUpBird.
Thank you very much, Forecourt Jester. So we will see a blind pick match 3. Very interesting, Rome. So clearly they let the glaive through, had the pedal in their pocket the whole time.
Yeah, and this is something that we were talking about previously. Gabe Vizzle can play every single hero, and he can play them very well. The thing is, with Kinetic, they have to find a composition that is very balanced. And I feel like if they don't, they're just going to miss out on a lot of great opportunities.
This was much more like the Kinetic team that we saw in the first qualifier.
Yeah, I really like the left Petal was the very last pick there. And I think it was a really good opportunity for them to show the kind of unsung potential of Petal. I think a lot of people just kind of discard her, like she's not going to be picked, but she is so strong right now. And I think they really showed how strong she could be in that last game.
All right, let's take a look at the items real quick since we didn't have a chance to talk about that yet. Rome, anything that stands out for you?
Well, it's pretty common build. Looking through Glaive with that weapon build, something I do really want to highlight out here is the fact that T Tigers went very tanky, and we saw it in the end where he was diving straight on all by himself. This opened the wave, and it made room for Gabe Vizzle to really jump in, make Sui to really jump in and initiate their abilities.
Talk a little bit more about the play of T Tigers, finishing with an excellent KDA there and a real key component of this team.
Well, that's what I expect of him, which making sure that he does get that CS up and he makes those big plays, especially in that late game, because his role as that laner is to be that hyper carry, is to be able to carry on and makes life so much easier for everybody else.
Shingy, talk to me for a minute about Gabe on the pedal, specifically in terms of use of the trampoline. It's one of the hardest abilities to use correctly in all of Vainglory, and the way he was getting out and going in was very effective.
Yeah, so there was one kind of fight in the middle where there's, we saw Arden throwing the gauntlet down. He used the trampoline before just to get out of the view, and he was out the gauntlet just kiting away, and Dajio his health was dropping so fast. And we've just seen him using his trampoline as a gap closer to finish up a kill or as an escape mechanism. It's a very versatile move, and he used it extremely effectively.
And like you said there, also on occasion using it even laterally in order to get the self-buffs that he can get off of that ability. So for Liberation X now, Rome, they got a win. They got a lot of information off of this. What do you do if you're in their corner coaching them up?
I wouldn't expect the pedal pick to be coming out again, that blind pick match. I do feel like on the side of Liberation X, they have to find a composition that works very well in that early game. If they're able to snowball, put T-Tigers off of his groove, I feel like they have a lot more coming into that mid-late game.
All right, let's talk about those blind pick scenarios. Obviously, Status Baked, his signature hero, the hero that he won the Autumn Championship on, was Glaive. Do they just stick with their strength, or do they have to start thinking, oh no, if we go Glaive again, then they're going to go, maybe they go Pedal again, anticipating that. Well, how does that all play out?
I feel that both sides will be running Black Feather up in the lane. In the jungle, it's going to be probably Sky versus Glaive, and then with the Roamer, they can throw whatever they want.
All right, and we'll find out how it plays out. We are ready for the blind pick match 3. The comps are just there. All right, so everything is just now locked in, and with the call, it's going to be Forecourt Jester and Tasty Bacon.
All right, thank you, Playoff Beard. And once they get into the game, we are going to get to see what these teams are pulling out for the blind pick. It's going to be crazy. Both of these teams have plenty of pocket picks. We just saw the pedal.
I know what you're trying to lead up to.
Well, I don't want to say too much about it because if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Nope,
and
totally
I am.
didn't.
I'm not as disappointed because there is still a pedal.
Yep.
There is another pedal for Hammer's Kinetic, and so it will be Pedal, Fortress, and Black Feather taking on a Black Feather, Fortress, and Sky. So once again, in our blind pick, there's only one difference, and it is Pedal and Sky.
Yeah, Crystal carries difference once more, but all right, fine. Hammer's Kinetic. Gabe Vizzo showed his card already. He said, all right, I can do this pedal, alternating current, no problem. What are they going to do about it? Now, if Liberation X didn't see it coming, because, I mean, we didn't, so they probably didn't, I don't see really, like, a huge difference, because bringing in Status Baked, who's not on a Glaive, by the way, he is on that Sky. Munions are great body blockers for forward barrages.
Yeah, Munions are great body blockers for forward barrages, but forward barrages and Surrey Strikes are also great at taking out Munions. So it's a little bit of a two-way street there. So
but
we'll
still,
have to see.
If I'm a high-powered Crystal carry and my little Munions defended my life and I took no damage out of a forward barrage, I'd say they're a job well done.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll have to see how it does actually play out and which scenario takes effect. Because again, a Surrey Strike could easily clear out those Munions as well while still doing damage to the carry. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Death from Above also, again, very good at taking out Munions. But in last game, Adagio, we talked about how Adagio was exceptional at taking out those Munions as well, and it didn't work for Liberation. So Hammer's Kinetic, they're going to find themselves a fight here onto Sky, and that's exactly what you were talking about, those Munions taking up about half of that forward barrage. And now it's going to be Sui Generous looking to secure this kill. They do seal away the camp. I don't know if they have enough to actually get the kill.
No,
that's a trampoline going to be used to get forward, and Status Baked will go down. It is First Blood going over to Gabe Vizzle.
Oh, we lost. Oh, no, we got a kill in the mid. It was actually Selena Gomez who could take down the mirror.
Yeah, in the lane, it was, like you said, Selena Gomez picking up the kill in that mirror matchup. So fights happening all over the fold. Unfortunately, we can only look at one place at a time. It's our eyes are not quite able to, split that far apart. So,
all right, let's not think about that thought for a minute here. But losing out the kill against Sky and then stealing out the jungle definitely feels a little bit more powerful. from Hammer's Kinetic because, you know, losing out the Black Feather and then some lane farm, like, it's lane farm. I mean, yeah, you take a little bit of damage here. They were able to freeze the lane a little bit. So he's not even, like, T-Tigers is not going to be that far behind. At the same time, though, if you can continuously get those kills and keep that Sky down, Gabe Vizzle is going to really excel at this match.
Yeah, we'll have to see a difference in builds if it comes out in the Black Feathers. Right now, it's pretty much identical. The Book of Eulogy is into some health. It's just that, right, Selena Gomez has a bit of an advantage by being able to pick up that Swift Shooter.
Yeah, and I mean, Selena at this point, again, like very likely both sides going to be picking up Shiver Steals. Well, all right, T-Tigers gets his. 3.5 minutes in. It's a pretty impressive mark. Now, Status Baked, he's playing a little scared, as he should be. He does not know where the opponents are. He does actually get his own farm, and he's not going to pick up that. But at the same time, again, Hammer's Kinetic and their invades and their timings just seem a little bit more impactful here early on.
Well, they're about to possibly find another one here as it's Selena and E36 stuck on the wrong side of this. But now, with the rotation down, Selena Gomez is taking so much damage. Status Baked just not able to put out enough damage to try and trade back. And that's going to be now half health for Status Baked as well. So Hammer's Kinetic, once again, looking pretty strong with their early aggression.
Like, that was the best time to get a forward barrage. They're all funneled in, they're all chasing. Yeah, great, damage. And Status Baked might actually just die here.
Yeah, Status Baked is going to be taken very low. The forward barrage, again, hitting all those Munions instead, as you called. And now, Sweet Generous, now that's going to be a very easy kill to be secured. It was either going to go to Gabe or Sweet Generous there, and it was Sweet Generous with the Fortress able to secure it. So,
and again, look at the rotation. They're going straight into the backs. They're going to pick up as much farm as they can, deny it from Status Baked to, you know, level 5. Gabe is probably going to hit 6 much quicker at this rate. And it's just, again, earlier rotations that are more impactful.
Yeah, and item differences as well. 3 crystal bits for Status Baked, whereas Gabe has been able to pick up the Heavy Prism, a crystal bit, and a Swift Shooter already. So a much more in the inventory for the Petal because of all of these invades and how much of the jungle they've been able to steal away from Status Baked Sky. 500 gold difference between teams. It's not the end of the world. Minion Mine will actually get captured. Probably, okay, maybe not both sides, Gabe. Let's just keep on that pain train of wrong, Jester. Sure. So 3-1. Well, he's going for it now. So
yeah, but
he wanted the healing first, so that the Minion Miner wouldn't do too much damage to him. Yeah, just not quite there yet. We do got level 6 on both sides. Selena Gomez does not have that infinite escape. E36 with the body block. Yeah, going to be body blocking quite a bit as he is going to be falling there. Another kill for Gabe Vizzle on this Petal. He is starting to get really far ahead. And look at that. Yep, everything immediately into the backs and taking these out. They have this scout trap here, so they actually know exactly when those backs respawn every single time, and that's part of why their timing is so impeccable on going in for these invasions. Those clever heroes. So clever. So 4-1 for the kills, and again, like going back and forth, it's actually doing very well here for this blind pick for Hammer's Kinetic. Their early game's doing well. Status Baked finally going to get a little bit of farm into his pocket, but 6 minutes in, alternating currents ready to go, and Gabe Vizzle is about to run into Sky. Yeah, this is going to be very bad for Status Baked. The Death from Above does come out, gets a stun, but it's a Petal. She's eventually going to get out of that stun and just hunt you down, and Gabe Vizzle picking up his 3rd kill of the game. Problems again with forward barrage and Munions. You keep throwing out those forward barrages, and the Munions just keep eating them all, and when you're done with that cooldown, the rest of the team there from Hammer's Kinetic is just full health and ready to just take you down. It's becoming a problem. It's definitely becoming a major problem for Status Baked. I think he's going to have to adjust to using that Suri Strike much earlier in fights, which then also has a problem of leaving him in a vulnerable position because he's going to have to Suri Strike through the Petal to be able to clear out those Munions, or a Death from Above can clear out all of them in one go. That works Death too. From Above, yeah, but your Death from Above is now down. Right. That's a problem. Now, we don't actually have the puppies here from E36 yet either. T-Tigers does have a 6, same here with Selena Gomez, and did we actually end up... Selena Gomez still sitting, looking to go a little bit more offensive, not finishing up the Shiver Steal. So again, T-Tigers, with his playstyle, I think is just slightly more ahead. 72 farm to 69 though. It's not as bad as it could be when it comes to the money. Yeah, Selena Gomez is actually sitting on a ton of gold
25
Yeah. So when Selena Gomez does go down to the shop, it's going to be very lucrative. But right now is a very bad time to fight. Status is going to fall. T-Tiger securing that one, while Gabe Bizzle just continues to chase through onto the Fortress and Blackfeather. Another kill going over to the side of Hammer's Kinetic, and they, thus far in the early goings, have been in the driver's seat.
Almost a kill a minute here for Hammer's Kinetic. 6 kills in 8 minutes. Once more, Gabe, he's just going to be marching forward and picking up that farm. And Status Baked has still not finished a tier 3 item in 8 minutes.
Yeah, this is definitely not a good situation for them to be. I mean, neither has Selena Gomez. There's no tier 3 items on anyone on the side of Liberation X at 8 minutes into the game, and that, like you said, it's a problem.
Goodbye, Selena Gomez.
Yep, that's going to be just it feels too easy almost at this point for Kinetic. You look up and the health is just gone.
There's the Shiver Steel coming up from, I want to say Selena. Yep, totally there. And, I mean, a little bit of attack speed, sure, fine, but T-Tigers has that Serpent Mask ready. Yep. Like, we haven't even gone down that road here from Liberation X. It's just, okay, well, maybe it's actually not as far as I thought. He does pick up the Barb Nina. We do now have that fountain, an 8-minute fountain. If you recall a little bit earlier, TSM Flash, he's able to get it in the 6-minute mark. This round, 8 for Liberation X, and that's a little bit of a difference between some of the styles of these roamers.
Yeah, they both do have that Fountain of Renewal now, so it's not too big of a difference in terms of the roamers. Again, that big itemization difference is in the jungle. As you can see, the damage being dealt onto E36 there. He does still have the Fountain available, so not in too much trouble just yet. But with Gabe Bizzle joining the party, it very well could be. Looks like he just wants to go down and look for some jungle farm instead. Saying, just almost daring Liberation X to chase them down.
They knew where Sky was, that scout trap back at the backs. They knew exactly where Sky is. They can probably guess that since Sky's not showing up, he's doing a little bit more farm, or he's doing the minion mine, although the minion mine is his, so that's an invalid one. Either way, they know exactly where he is, so they can do this aggression.
Yeah, and I really like this. The pedal can actually deter any sort of contention onto that gold mine while they do secure it for themselves.
Puppies and
see,
Munions.
there is finally a tier 3 item completed for Status Baked, as he did finish off the Broken Myth first thing, and Selena Gomez is just gonna stay alive.
As a fountain.
Very, very close for Kinetic. They're slowly pulling ahead. It's not a massive gold lead just yet, but it's a consistent gold lead.
And they have held it for, they keep incrementally making it bigger.
Oh,
so
beautiful
right.
death from above does stun up too. This is Liberation X looking for a fight. They're diving onto Gabe Bizzle, but they don't have the damage. That's one kill picked up, going over to Sweet Generous. Gabe Bizzle underneath the turret, kiting as best he can. They do get the kill, but it is an ace in favor of Hammer's Kinetic.
A 3-1 trade, not exactly what the doctor ordered, but I mean, they went for it, and they didn't have a fountain that fight. Remember, like, they just used it previous to keep, not T-Tigers, to keep Selena Gomez alive, and now getting an ace and losing out a turret, that is not going to be boding well for them, because they still can't keep this farm.
Yeah, I think Status Baked has maybe taken his own backs maybe 3 times this entire game.
3 times in
It has
11
been
minutes.
Completely belonging to Hammer's Kinetic. Maybe Gabe Bizzle taking offense to hearing that the jungle was Status Baked's territory. And
he proved it in the first game.
He definitely did. The first game was very strong, but then Gabe Bizzle, you know, the jungle is filled with bushes, so he's playing the plant, so he's becoming one with the jungle.
Right, no, I get it.
And
I think E36 is returned into the earth himself.
He's definitely going to be falling there as another kill for Gabe Bizzle. T-Tigers did get dropped very low, but it's just, again, not enough. The fountain comes out, keeps him healthy.
Whoa.
Oh, Status Big. Gabe Bizzle actually got the attack target. You could see
his
attack go flying back towards the base, but just not quite fast enough to cancel out that recall. So instead, they'll just settle for another gold mine. It's gonna be a immense gold payout, the full payout, 300 gold per player, just extending this lead that they have even further.
Petal sounds like she's just smacking her opponents with fairy dust. That's what I'm always reminded about, that auto attack sound. And when he's stutter stepping like that, you just hear it so much.
Oh boy, but that's going to be a lot of damage onto Status Baked. He is going to fall in between the 2 turrets. And now Selena Gomez using that Rose offensive just to try and get out alive. The attack of the pack just causing a little bit of trouble there. But this is going to be the 2nd turret now for Hammer's Kinetic. They are easily able to just throw their weight around.
13 kills in now 12 minutes. They've ramped up their killing sprees, and now again, like that scout mine right there has been invaluable. Anytime that Sky's into that back, they know. Anytime that it spawns, they know. They get the kill, they get the farm, and Gabe Vizzle is, I gotta say, he's probably amongst the richest right now because he might have 87 minions, but a lot of those are backs in jungle. We have 122 there for T-Tigers, but they're mostly lane. I would still wager to bet that Gabe Vizzle is actually #1 earner right now.
Absolutely. There's almost no question in my mind that he would have the most gold on the team. One of the questions about this pedal, and with Hammers Kinetic playing it here in the first round, you have to ask, did they show it too early? Because now other teams are going to know that this is something that they can pull out. But because they've now done it twice in a row and had extreme success with it, it's now something that teams have to worry about and not just keep in mind. The scout trap finally goes down.
Hero scout trap.
That must have been there for at least 10 minutes. That was a really good scout trap. But
probably the oldest scout trap ever.
So now that everyone knows that this pedal is so strong, if they don't feel like they can deal with the pedal, that becomes something that they maybe have to ban, which leaves more power picks open for Hammers Kinetic. So showing it early, if they had only played it the once, then yes, maybe they pulled it out a little bit too early. But because now they've done so well with it 2 games in a row, it becomes a legitimate threat.
14 minutes in, definitely prime time to pick up some of those infusions. We got the Kraken waiting in the wings here over the next 50 seconds. Liberation X not actually building really a lot of light shield. They have actually been going a lot of armor. Look at that, double quota plates and then light armor on top of status bakes, which is interesting because Gabe Vizzle actually has the most kills tied with Sweet Generous, who again is doing mostly, a lot of that crystal with the A and B. It's really T-Tigers at 3-1-5 that they fear the most.
Yeah, and the T-Tigers, I mean, you have to wonder if it's just sort of your natural reaction of saying, oh, Black Feather, we need to build armor.
It's a bone saw anyways.
Yeah, but it's a bone saw and a serpent's mask. Like it's not all that much actual weapon damage other than from the abilities. So I definitely agree with you. In fact, I feel like there should be more shield being built on the side of Liberation to try and deal with what Gabe was able to do. But now he has the Broken Myth and some infusions coming out as Kraken spawns. This could be the beginning of the end for Liberation X in this matchup.
5 scout traps right there. At least 5. Sounds like they're doing.
Oh, they are fighting indeed, and Status Big is getting dropped so quickly. They are going to answer at least one onto the Black Feather, but now Gabe Vizzle is still alive. He's just going to be working on E36, and just look at that damage, just taking him out, ignoring the attack of the pack until the very end, and that is 2 kills picked up for Hammers Kinetic. I'm not sure if they're going to look to go for this Kraken here because of the fact that Selena Gomez is alive and could contest that with Gabe Vizzle being so low. But they're definitely going to go take those healing camps and get Gabe Vizzle some health back and possibly see if they can bait Selena Gomez into a bad position.
That's at least 10 scout traps in and around that area.
It's a lot of vision. And it's kind of surprising because usually you would think, oh, a whole bunch, there's a pedal, that's when you want to build a whole bunch of scout traps against the pedal just to try and get that extra damage onto those minions. But it's the team that has the pedal that's putting down all of those traps.
It's also something to think about in terms of last time we saw a pedal in NA, there was a lot of talk about contraption countering it. And if you look at E36, he's actually still sitting on that Stormguard banner. Will he not get a Warhorn? If we ever get to the point, I'm pretty sure he just will. But that wasn't ever anything that seemed to cross the mind here, Liberation X.
Yeah, I don't think it's not quite as powerful against those minions anymore because they do have a little bit more health than they used to. So it's, a single scout trap will not one-shot those minions. Plus, the amount of movement speed. Status Big gonna get that death from above dropped. It does land pretty well, but it's just not well enough as that is a kill picked up. They're gonna continue this chase. Rose Offensive is not gonna get Selena far enough away. E36 will be able to get onto the fountain as the spontaneous combustion comes out, but that is going to be that 3rd turret taken down. We'll see if Hammers look to get even more off of this or not. They don't have any minions with them, so they do need to be careful. They didn't get that ace buff, but that's going to be the, that was a little interesting to see, but it is the ace now picked up. as the respawns are coming through, as Kraken is making her way into the base. This very well should be the game for Hammer's Kinetic. Let's see if Status Bait can make one last miracle defense. A beautiful death from above does stun up too, but the damage just is not there, and they turn their attention onto Status. Now that those turrets are down, they get the kill. They're going to get the crystal. Hammer's Kinetic will take the win and the series, moving on to tomorrow in the winner's bracket. Congratulations, Hammer's Kinetic, with the 2 pedal picks in a row, pulling out the victory.
Didn't see that one coming, but Hammer's Kinetic, you know, one of the newer teams here into the qualifiers. They get into the championships, and they told us, you know, they scrim a lot with velocity. These guys have been practicing the 117 tournament patch repeatedly because, you know, one of the big advantages of Hammer's Esports having 2 teams here is, you know, they can just kind of scrim and play off each other. Plus, they're all part of a family. So as far as they can get, if it's going to be Hammers for the finals, that's, of course, the best situation that they can be in. But their preparation really, I think, just paid off right there. Like the pedals, we saw almost none of them. In fact, actually none of them in the qualifiers. At least the thing that, you know, Janine and I did, Sona and I did, Jumpman was there, you know, no pedals. And then all of a sudden, boom, pedals. And I gotta wonder if, you know, VIPL had a little bit of a say in that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they did follow that VIPL a little bit. Again, the alternating current into the Broken Myth and the Shiver Steel.
You went Shiver Steel actually second this round.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's the build that he likes on this pedal, and you can see why with just how effective it was in both games.
7-1-0. I'm not entirely too sure how many deaths they had last time, but again, a very similar situation. And Sweet Generous, though, picking up 7 kills there as well with that Fortress. I mean, that support was rolling in money.
7 kills and no deaths.
Yeah,
and then, of course, on the other side,
today,
unfortunately for Status Baked, the 0-9. And that just, again, talks about how strong Gabe Vizzle was this game.
It's just really amazing to me. Like, Status Baked, Glaive, come into the blind pick. They think I'm going to go Glaive. But no, I go Sky, then it just doesn't work out. So the blind pick mentality is very different to the picks and drafts that we see. And, you know, TSM breaking out their own unpredictability, they get a win. And Hammer's Kinetic, guys that have been doing a lot of work, they actually now will continue on.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to go ahead and throw it back over to Playoff Beer, Ginny, and Rome for our last words of the day.
All right, thank you very much. Tasty Bacon, an excellent showing out of Liberation X, but they didn't see the pedal coming. They had no answer for it, Rome.
I didn't even see the pedal coming. No, but excellent play coming out of them, especially looking at that last game. Pedal counters Sky so hard in that early game where you do have that early jungle pressure, you have that range, and your minions block and negate everything coming out of that forward barrage.
Maybe we'll be seeing more pedal in ranked tonight. Saw some Kashka, saw some pedal, a lot more Kestrel than we expected, a lot of surprises today, Shingy.
Yeah, there was a lot of surprises, and I've got to say, I really liked Gabe Vizzle's itemization on that Petal. I think somebody touched on it earlier with that alternating current. It synergizes really well with Petal's heroic perk, which gives him more attack speed, and by that, he has got so much kiting potential on that Petal. So lots of surprises today, yeah.
All right, so we talked about Gabe Vizzle's process of discovery, moving to the jungle position. Maybe he gave Petal a try where other people aren't.
Well, I do feel like he's very confident running every single hero across the board. Like, he could throw one of the roamers up into a jungle carry, and that would work out very well for them. And, like, you know, the casters were highlighting this fairly thoroughly, the fact that Kinetic seems to be showing out all their cards. But the fact is, all their cards make up every single composition available. And if they gain practice through that, it's better to show their cards than hide.
Now, one more thing I wanted to mention here, the spontaneous combustions coming out of the Petal. A big difference almost allows a former roamer and Gabe Vizzle to contribute another fountain to those fights.
Yeah, with the perfect timing coming out of that, they make the most out of it, especially with T-Tigers always being out front, making sure that he gets everything out of that spontaneous combustion.
All right, that said, who would you say is your MVP of the last series of today?
It's got to be Gabe Vizzle. So, I mean, not even just for the Petal play, which was truly outstanding on its own, but was also his positioning and his excellent utility off that trampoline to reposition himself. And, you know, just all-around impressive play coming out from him there.
All right, so this was only day one. So much more to come. And if you enjoyed seeing perhaps Nemesis Hydra, now clearly a fan favorite, Noble Esports trying their comeback, none of those teams are out. This is tomorrow will be elimination day in this double elimination scenario. So all of these teams have one more bite at the apple at least. Let's talk through this really quickly. So first off, are you kidding me already? A finals-worthy matchup of Hammer's Velocity versus Phoenix Rain.
And this is one I'm going to be very excited about. This is pretty much a replay of what happened throughout the qualifiers this season. And you're pitting up both teams are mechanics. They're mechanic savvy across the board. They're excellent in terms of knowing the extent and knowing the limitations of every single hero they play.
All right, and with that, the second matchup, TSM, so in the winner's side, TSM will face the Hammer's Kinetic team we just saw. That is also an excellent matchup.
That's really scary, actually. And I think TSM is that they've still not showed all their cards yet. And I think they're really well known for this. I mean, the qualifier won. They played Saw up to the semi-finals. And I think they've still got a lot of potential there. And the same can be said for Hammer's Kinetic, in that we can't predict what's going to be happening.
All right, so those teams that can afford to lose as the winner's side. But now if we get into the elimination bracket, we have teams that if they lose, their tournament is over. Noble Esports, the 5-speed, Phoenix Reborn, the 8 seed. Some things that Noble can build on, and a team they think they can beat, I would say.
Yeah, like especially throughout their second game today, we saw that light coming out of Noble. They were rotating really properly. They were coordinated throughout the entire team, especially in that early and that mid game.
All right, and then Liberation X had some moments here that they can build on, and Nemesis Hydra, the playmaking machine, really took it to the brink today, and they'll get another shot tomorrow.
Yeah, so pretty much this is that rematch of the Autumn Championship Finals, and I do think that there is a lot going to be going on, especially in that jungle. I feel like you're pitting a Von C against Status Bake, you're going to be in for an excellent matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And just a reminder, because there are so many series tomorrow, we will start 3 hours earlier. That's a 10 a.m. Pacific start time. So don't miss all of those early matches where you see the winners clashing with the winners. It's going to be fast and furious right off the top. And even though the day is essentially over, more is still happening. If you're here in person, meet and greets are about to start. And for those who are watching from home, still go to Twitter, use hashtag Vainglory Live. You might be able to win an iPad, so participate there. And Xingyi, any final thoughts?
It's looking to be a really exciting day tomorrow. We've got so many big games, and I think everybody should just watch.
All right.
Just watch.
Just watch. You have to be here.
Just make sure that you watch. So with that, I think we're done for today from the Avalon here in Hollywood. Thanks so much to everyone for joining us. Tomorrow, Elimination Day, as we find out who our semifinalists will be. Do not miss it. We'll see you tomorrow.